Here we are. Welcome to Town Square Talk. My name is Pearl.
Hey, hello everyone. I'm Pat Alva-Kraker. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome. And we have a very special episode today. And imagine it's September 30th, Pat. Wow,
Unbelievable.
last day.
Paul.
Last day of September. So
Wow.
we have, like I said, a very, very special episode with Pat, our beautiful co-host, presenting, talking mainly about pause, reflect, and pivot. Speaking very, very timely during this COVID-19 time as we are working toward the new normals and how we came up with this Town Square Talk show. And allow me to introduce myself first and foremost. Again, my name is Pearl Peng. I am the CEO and the co-host. I'm the CEO of Benchmark Maven and the co-host of Town Square Talk. I work with CEOs and their C-suite team, business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are engaged in their personal awakening and are seeking to achieve greater outcomes in their careers and personal lives in new, perhaps unconventional and innovative ways. And prior to that, I have built a reputation as a top multicultural and multilingual consultant with over 17 years at IBM and in the Fortune 500 world for over 25 years, leading and collaborating with global work teams, solving quite some complex business issues. After that, since year 2000, I finally decided to become an energy healer and have also started to teach yoga and qigong for the past 4 years. So to learn more about me and my company, Benchmark Maven, please visit my website at benchmarkmaven.com. And with that, I'd like to have the honor to introduce the beautiful Pat Alva-Kraker. Pat is a really good friend of mine, and we got the chance to meet each other way back in 2014. We also had both worked for IBM. That's kind of our opportunity to join at the hips, be able to co-creating and masterminding on a regular basis. Pat Alva-Kraker is an award-winning business strategist, best-selling author, and real estate private lender. Pat has combined 35 years in the IT and real estate industries to create a consulting business and assist heart-centered women entrepreneurs. So women entrepreneurs, listen up, to scale their IT or retail real estate business with ease and grace so that they can experience time and financial freedom and create a life they love and enjoy. Pat is the co-host of the show, as you all know, a show to empower professionals and entrepreneurs on health, wealth, and business success.
Absolutely.
She is a business catalyst speaker and speaks on empowerment, success habits, and scaling your business consciously. Pat is an author of the #1 bestseller, Catherine's Quest, One Woman's Journey to Elation on Amazon. And she has been recognized by women of color leadership Texas and the Hispanic Women's Network of Texas for her passion in developing women leaders. She is a native Texan and she lives in Fort Worth. Beautiful home, newly completed earlier this year with her husband Mitch and their dog Dakota.
Dakota.
Pat and Mitch love to travel, and Pat loves to cook and read. And you can find out more about Pat and her work at her website at majesticcoachinggroup.com.
There you go.
All right.
Hello,
Pat,
everyone.
you've
Thank
got
you.
so much accomplishment. I was like trying my best. It's an honor to have you speaking to our audience today. And
Thank you.
please take your notepads, audience, and everything, your pen, water to settle in. So we're going to talk about quite some interesting stuff, right, Pat?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We and really the title, pause, reflect, and pivot, really began with both of us. We are an example of the pause, the reflect, and the pivot, and this is the reason how this show came about. And over the last 9 months, Pearl and I have just been studying the trends in the economy and small business, corporations, and really, really would like to share some of the insight that has been really revealed and that has come through our research. So, Pearl, what is one reveal? One point of revelation that we have all been experiencing in your eyes in the industries.
Yeah, and that was, like you'd said, the main reason that we created the show. Since very early on this year with this COVID-19 situation, and a lot had happened, as well as being in an election year. So it's just quite some changes that's so unprecedented. And I think it'll be good for us to kind of perhaps talk about or um, identify some of the changes that we have noticed in the
Mhm.
economy, right? And perhaps a specific industry that you are in, audience. So
Right.
if you have any questions specifically or even observations specifically
Yeah,
about your
definitely.
industries, so please type in the comment area and share with us. So Pat, for
We're
you,
grateful for that.
what have you seen the changes in?
One change, as Pearl mentioned, my husband and I are private lenders, so we're very closely tied to real estate, and we have seen the migration of families leaving the city into the country, where they've always in urban city in the urban parts of the cities where they've always wanted to live, but because they were forced to actually come into the office, they had no choice but to live as close as possible to the city, for costs, for schools, whatever that was. There was some prereqs that made it necessary to live in the city. But now that most of us are working from home, families have started to rethink really where they want to live. And in our situation, there has been an increase in home sales, which is a win-win for the economy as private lenders and for sellers. So it's been really interesting. In most cities, it has been a place where buyers can really just go in and buy the dream of the excuse me, the home of their dreams. So that's one major thing that I've seen in my industry. Another change has been the need for online presence. So I am a retreat coach, and most of my retreats were done in person. They were luxury retreats, they were adventure retreats. And because of COVID-19, I've had to pivot and actually learn how to do retreats virtually. And it takes a different level of finesse in actually bringing the energy and the interaction from those retreats done virtually versus when you're in person. And that's been a major change for me. Um, Many of my clients who do retreats also have done a hybrid. So those who were willing to come to a venue, some of them would, and then some of them would actually tie in via Zoom. So then there was another set of finesse and practices that needed to be changed to accommodate that. So definitely in coaching, online presence has been a major pivot for us. So if you didn't have an online presence, you didn't have an online course, so many of us were diving in and learning how to put together online courses because it was a necessity. We could no longer have the workshops in person like we used to. The other change that I've seen, and maybe Pearl, you have seen that too, not necessarily in my industry, but the supply chain. A lot of delays in ingredients and supplies.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the shortage, as
Mhm.
well as some difficulty in delivery, the layoffs and the workers not being able to produce because of the situation at
Right.
hand. So, with that, clearly there need to be new plans, right? New ways of doing things.
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
those are, yeah, quite visible in many ways in quite almost every single industry uh, that's kind of seen. And yeah, Pat, you're right
It has
on.
been affected. You had
Hmm.
mentioned that, Mitch and I built our dream home, and I can tell you that we have ordered new furniture
Mm,
and we even ordered a jacuzzi. And I can tell you everything has been delayed. An example would be I had, I ordered window coverings. And when COVID came in, the
hmm.
vendor that we were working with, more than half of his team quit because they were afraid to go into people's homes and install window coverings. And his team shrunk. And so there was a delay in delivery. He became a one-man show in many cases. And I see that also in the manufacturing. A lot of people decided that they wanted to retire. The plants, reestablish the schedules, and a lot of furniture is delayed because of that.
Right. Yeah. And of course, the most affected the restaurant industry, right? Hotels and
Mhm.
transportation industries, even amusement parks. Disney just announced layoff of, thousands, hundreds of thousands. I think it's 80,000 or 50,000. I forget the number of
Entertainment.
folks, of employees,
The
unfortunately.
entertainment industry has been severely affected.
Yeah, the gathering, right? Even churches,
Hmm.
right?
So it's
So,
been really severe, and um, it has caused a pause really for us to really reflect, and it's really
mhm.
the biggest. Never in history have we had such an opportunity to pause, reflect, and pivot as we have right now.
Isn't
So
that so
most of
true?
our normal was really only January and February. And then we really don't know how long this new normal is
Hmm.
really going to last, and how important it is to really sit back and take a look at where you want to be and where you're going. So today we're going to talk about your business behind the mask and the importance of being online and how to really have a wow effect on your clients, because that's where they're at now. That's where they're looking for you now, because they're not going to the brick and mortar anymore. And then health has become a big concern for all of us.
Mm.
And we want to revisit, do we have a great routine in the morning? Do we need to make a pivot? Do we need to change? Is it still working? So by the time you leave, you're going to have an understanding of really how to look back at your business and determine what needs to change, how to start a path on getting online and connecting with your clients, and then giving you some ideas on how to create the most powerful hour in your day, which is the morning.
Yeah, and Pat, I believe you have a beautiful deck of slides
Yes. Yeah.
that we can put up and share with our audience.
Yes, so here
Hopefully, the
we are.
technology is
And
going to work well. Ah, there you are.
and and we encourage you to jump in and ask questions. And as Pearl and I will have a conversation on these topics. And so sit back, take notes, and we would love for you to participate as much as possible. So your business behind the mask. So what has caused a lot of failures in small business has been the level of margin that they've been working with and whether they had a sustainable infrastructure. What we know today is that there's at least 100,000 small businesses that have closed permanently. And that is a big blow because small business is what employs people. They are the major employers in the United States. And it becomes very important for us to be able to step back. As a practice, I've always shared with my customers, with my clients, review your goals and where you are in your numbers every quarter. And so it's very important for you to do that now. If you have not done that, then this is a perfect time to just sit back with your team and have a conversation about where you are in your business. And one of the most important questions is, what drove the decisions and the pivots that you made in your business the last 6 months? Was it driven by fear, or was it driven by a trust or a sense of love? Because working from one or the other would determine whether you or your team had a level of anxiety trying to make things work for the business. You were trying to do things with very little research just to see what would stick in order to be able to continue to bring money in. Or were you in a place of calm and, having that conversation on, okay, we're going to review what happens in our business. We're going to take a look at what our customers are asking for. We're going to sit back and think about it, and then we're going to take action. So there's a difference between doing it from a position of just reacting, or whether you are actually responding and moving forward in your business with a level of confidence and actually trusting the process. Because if there hasn't been, this is another time where you have had to just kind of trust that you have the answers, trust that your business will survive, and trust that collectively as a company and as a community, you're going to move forward in good faith. So that's a big one. Are you reacting from fear and love? And what would it take for you to make that pivot in your business so that you're creating your business from this place? I always like to ask these 3 questions. What worked in the business? What didn't work in the business? And why? So really, when you sit with your team, they all have different perspectives. And it's really an important time to find out, were you late on any orders? Were you getting customer requests that you couldn't respond to? What were your delivery methods? Did your delivery methods work? Did you have to pivot? And did you have a plan B for everything in your business? So that's one thing that we all learned, is the plan B is critical to our success. So being able to sit back and ask yourself these questions, what worked, what didn't work, and why, becomes pivotal. And I always love the use of, of the 5 whys. Pearl, you and I in corporate, it was part of our processes to ask ourselves the infamous 5 whys. As you do that, you really end up at each why getting deeper and deeper into the root cause or the root understanding of why something worked and didn't work.
And yes, and that's indeed why you have this know your numbers and metrics underpinning, right? Kind of feeding back and helping with your analysis on what worked, looking at the numbers and see if there's any particular skew of the numbers that might have mattered. Take out the noises as you do the analysis. And this is why we so love to work with our leaders on doing that analysis and figuring out what can be done perhaps differently to improve those numbers.
Absolutely. And on this slide, we have 5 indicators. There's definitely a lot more, but just to get you started, this is not something that you have brought into your business on a regular basis, then this would be a start for you. And one of those is, where are you in your sales, right? Compared to last year, have you had an increase, a decrease? How are your sales going? And just being very perceptive of where you might have to make some changes in the way you're marketing and what you're providing. Production, Pearl mentioned that so many ingredients for key products were no longer available. And it was very, very key for many businesses that was the only product that they offered, and they did sole sourcing. And so their parts only came from that one particular vendor, and they didn't have a backup vendor. So how has your production been affected by these delays? The third one is research and development. How much time are you investing in research and development? Maybe this is a good time to actually revisit that. Then we have marketing. Has your marketing been effective? Have you been turning your prospects into clients? What's your ratio? And then, of course, are you working with partners? And partners is really pivotal nowadays, just being able to collaborate and have joint ventures. And I know, Pearl is a perfect example of ways that she has actually partnered with multiple companies in her business.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, Pat, these areas are huge areas to look into.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when you start to, check the numbers, you can prioritize and discern which areas that you need to put more focus on first. And
Numbers never lie.
That's
and
correct.
Sometimes we don't want to face the numbers. So many clients, don't look at their checking accounts, don't balance their business accounts, don't look at their numbers because they're afraid of what they're going to see. And that's, you're putting your head in the sand and you can't make wise decisions if you're not aware of your numbers. You should know them like the back of your hand. You really should. And there's no fear in that. It's just, this is the situation and how am I going to respond to that? So once you get an idea of where you're at, then you can decide what you're going to do going forward. And I encourage, all my clients to, at the beginning of the year, to be very clear on what they want to accomplish. And really the planning, Pearl, if you might agree, is that this is really the time to start planning for 2021.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really is the year that is so different from prior ones. And if you haven't started to plan that sooner.
Yeah, you need to, right? Because
yes.
If you had your objectives, you know what you need to do for the rest of the year.
Yes.
And you know where the delta is. So right now, you can do a lot in 100 days when you know what your objectives are and you know how to get there. And you can align your team to help you get there. So many times, a lot of CEOs decide to cruise the last quarter of the year, the last 3 months of the year, and so does the team. And there really isn't a good reason why that is the logical thing to do. There really isn't. We should be working the plan every month to reach the end goals. And there isn't a time where you just sit back and say, okay, well, we're just going to cruise the last 2 months. It doesn't make any sense, especially now. So many may say, well, I only have 3 more months. I'm not going to get a lot done. I said, you can change the energy of your group. You can get really clear about what your goals are, develop the plan, and then work the plan in order to be able to meet your requirements. And it's really important. Now, many times we don't work the plan, or we don't create a plan because we're afraid of failing. We're maybe embarrassed that we don't make the goals, or we're shameful. We're ashamed of where we are in the business. And that keeps us from really setting, drawing a line and saying, this is what I want to do. Sometimes it's, I don't know how. Well, I can tell you this, whatever you're trying to accomplish, I am willing to bet that someone else has already done it and you can learn how to do it. You can take a course, read a book, get online, go on YouTube and learn how to do something, especially if it's a pivot that you're making and it's a new service or a new product. The answers are out there. So the excuse of I don't know how doesn't really work. It's a total excuse. And you can find, even through a coach or a mentor, a way to step into that new market, that new product, that new, whatever that is. There is somewhere and somehow and someone who can help you find the how. So I just want you to let go of that and know that whatever you want to accomplish in the next 100 days is absolutely, totally possible. And one of the easiest ways to accelerate your business is to collaborate with other businesses. Collaborate with other businesses that are complementary to what you do, right? And one of the biggest examples of that is what? Restaurants. Mm-hmm. Restaurants. So many businesses never used to deliver. Right. Everything was, drop in, pick up, eat there, and they never had a delivery. So now a lot of businesses are, are collaborating with DoorDash, Uber, you name it, to actually deliver their product instead of them having to buy the trucks, and deliver. So the collaboration becomes very important. And it's important to be mindful of who you partner with. But I can tell you, partnerships, joint ventures, and collaborations are the fastest way at this point in time, and really always, to move your business forward. The sense of collaboration is so, so key to be able to do that.
I love
So,
it that you put these, two crucial questions down. It's really, what will it take? It's about brainstorming potential new ways of doing business and figuring out how your ecosystem, your supply chain, the vendors that you use to deal with, and how can they work differently, and figuring out a way to sort of create that new dynamics, if you will, and either by leveraging existing relationships, perhaps ones that couldn't quite work before because of the situation being different. Now may be time to revisit, as an example. So I
yeah, I
really love
totally
how
agree.
you laid this out, Pat.
Absolutely. And I always believe that as a business, we should always be birthing something. We should be, in the research and development and the creativity. How can we make, the next product line much better? How can we better deliver the service? Where's there a gap where we can, provide something that'll fill in the gap? We should always be birthing something. That is really the primary role of a CEO, is to be creating, is to be in that zone of genius and be creating. And it's very important, especially now, to be able to do that. And Pearl and I are an example of that, right? This talk show, we birthed this talk show. We saw a gap. We saw people struggling. We saw people needing help and support. And we said, okay, what are we going to birth here?
I love the word
Yes.
birthing, which
Exactly.
can entail that, it could be quite challenging. Yes.
No, yeah, no
Right?
doubt about
Could be,
that.
yeah, difficult, and you got to try things out. You have to risk sometimes, and sometimes it could be a bit painful. And how do you bring yourself back, and right, so that you can really have this beautiful result, beautiful baby coming out.
It's all part of the process. And what we should all be birthing at this point is an online presence. Many of us were just used to having somebody come into the boutiques, into the restaurants. And so we never really worried about having a strong online presence. Now it is almost a requirement in order to be able to move forward. And it's a must because of COVID-19. Certainly, like I said, in my business, online virtual retreats is a must. And I had to invest in learning how to do that. So an online presence is key. We're going to cover different ways in which you can come online and how you continue to add value to your clients so that you are still pouring into them in a way that's easy for you and makes sense for you.
And
So one thing,
speaking
yeah,
of a must, allow me to interject. Just about 15 minutes before the show was about to start, guess what? Pat's internet got lost, and we were like, where is our plan B? So hotspot on your smartphone, or
yeah,
generator, whatever you need to
whatever,
have, they need
exactly.
to be in place.
Yeah. And that's, being able to pivot on a dime becomes very important, because how many of us have been on Zoom calls, right? Where something happened, people couldn't sign on, you lost the connection, Zoom got
Yep.
overloaded.
Yes.
Just, you got to be able to pivot.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely. Continue on with the engagement with your
yeah,
clients, even though things aren't quite working. Communicate, communicate, communicate.
exactly. And one important thing when you're thinking about connecting online is, is your ideal client that you were serving in January, are they still your ideal client, or have
That's
they
right.
changed?
Yes.
And you need to be able to sit back and say, based on what I've been selling, we're now getting a new kind of client coming in, and they have different needs and they have different perspectives. And you may have to take a look at, is there a mixture? Has there been a total change so that when you start getting online, you're very clear about who your client is and what they need and where they hang out? Once you have that level of clarity, then your path from there is going to be very targeted, and you're going to hit the spot more than miss the spot.
Yes,
Versus
indeed.
saying, what, everybody's my client.
Right. It's how you would, in a way, how you would design various marketing campaigns, as an example, to address the different groups of your perhaps new ideal clients. Because of the outreach of the internet, now you're not limited just to your local clients, as an example.
Exactly. And, you know, a good thing to do is to actually connect with them and ask them, what do you need? What do you need? If we can provide an online presence, what would you need from us to make you more successful in your business? So being curious about what it is that they may need is going to be very important to how you appear online. So yes, it's very key. So we're going to talk about ways to connect online. Now, I'm seeing a little bit of face-to-face in certain meetup groups, in smaller scale events, but for the most part, I'm going to cover venues where you can establish a presence. And some of these will connect and you will resonate with them. And in others, you might say, no, I'm not going to get on any TV show. I don't want to be seen on camera. And so it's just a matter of what is your style? You know, what is your style? So the first one is podcasts. Podcasts have blossomed probably more than any of these others in the last few years. And it gives business owners a platform from which to share. Either share solely from their own experience or bringing in subject matter experts that would be of value to their audience into a simple conversation. Many of the podcasts are not even done on camera. They're filmed, the conversations are recorded in advance, and no one ever comes on camera. And then there are some podcasts where, you know, they love, it can be more like a talk show host, like what we're doing, and you're actually on camera. So I encourage you to study what areas your clients, what genres your clients would tend to appear in. Would it be CEOs? Would it be entrepreneurs? Would it be health and wellness? Like with what Pearl does, you know, healthy lifestyles, health and wellness. That's where she would gravitate. And those are the podcasts that she would look for. As well as both of us would be into entrepreneurial podcasts. So look at the genres. There are so many genres out there and thousands podcasts. Start studying them. Go listen to them. Listen to the podcaster, see who resonates, and then start reaching out. There definitely is a process to reaching out, but you want to start and making sure that it's a good match for you. You can add value. They have a following. And if it's your cup of tea, then jump in. You also have virtual summits. And Pearl and I love virtual summits. So how would you describe virtual summits, Pearl?
The reason I love virtual summits is this: you get to have diversified specialists, experts coming into the same space and have talks and offer their ideas and specialties. Not only that, you get to, even if you have the right summit, you get to interact with other attendees. If the summit is set up in the way that you can do so. So that is just an awesome opportunity, as if you're attending conferences, but it's online. You don't even have to change your clothes to, hop on a flight. So everything is kind of grouped together, and you really can pick and choose, not to mention the recordings are available. And you can purchase materials and so on and so forth. There's just wealth of knowledge, as well as networking opportunities.
So as you learn about virtual summits, and you can do a search on virtual summits, specifically in your industry, you can connect with people who actually sponsor and organize them and have a conversation about you doing one. Or you can create your own. And it doesn't take a lot. It's like bringing in 5 subject matter experts on a Zoom call. It can be, you can start that simply. It's just, these are the subject matters I'm bringing in. I'm going to invite all my client base, and everyone's going to have an opportunity to speak. And they are extremely popular, and you can meet a lot of people and get clients that way as well.
Right. And you can actually get your team leaders or team members, right?
Yes.
Assign them to visit various camp, or they may call it stream or tracks, whichever sort of categories,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are, because every summit has quite several, some categories diving slightly deeper into what they are about. So one person, it's impossible for one person to just consume it all.
Yeah.
So it'd be really, again, that's why I love virtual summits.
Yeah, love it. Now, stages, if you're a speaker, Pearl and I love to speak. That is one of my main focuses, business lanes, if you will. And I can tell you in March, maybe the first 2 weeks of April, all the speaking gigs died. That happened to all the speakers. And then as the organizations, the conferences, paused, reflected, and pivoted, then all of a sudden, all those opportunities opened up. And I can tell you in these conferences and associations, some of them will permanently have an online presence. They will no longer bring in the people into one place because of cost. And they've learned the efficiencies, and a lot of their ideal clients love that platform better. So if none of these appeal to you and you love to write, then blog. You can start a simple blog, share what you know, share the common questions that you're getting on a weekly basis, blog once a month, once a week, whatever you like. And it's depending on your website, it's very easy to get that going. In fact, you can even turn it into a newsletter and blog that way. So these are the ways that you want to start connecting, and just figure out which one works for you. It's not for everyone. And in time, you will find which niches are the best for you and where you will actually find your ideal client. Okay, so here we go. So your freebie, and the reason that we're talking about ways to connect in all those different venues that we talked about is because not only do you want to share your expertise, but you want to be able to give something of value. The term in the industry is freebie. And a freebie gives you an opportunity to share your knowledge, what you know, what you're good at, and solve a problem. Honestly, you went into a business because you had a special way of solving a problem for your ideal client. And so you will continue to do that, and at the same time, add value. So it's all about adding value. And then, of course, it has to be relevant, right? It has to be specific to the industries, things that you've shared in the industry that you know that maybe your clients are too busy to think about, but you can really come through and show them, go the extra mile to, provide them something that they're really needing and just really don't know who to ask or how to begin to do the ask. Anything you want to add here, Pearl, about the freebies?
You're right on. The freebies are so important, and it actually connects you to the client so readily and quickly when you sort of showcase and share, your most valuable advice.
Yeah,
So
very,
that's
very important.
really a must-have.
You want to make it easy. So you want to offer your offer through an email, one offer. You want to be able to go to a landing page on your website where people can opt in or sign in and request. And you want to create a list of emails that automatically that go out to your users and say, oh, thank you for requesting our checklist. Number 5 is really important in these during this type of the season. And so you get them engaged and curious about what your freebie is about, and you make it easy, and you make it easy for them to know where to get it, right? So that's really, really important. Potential offers, your time is valuable. Documents, you can do a free webinar, consultation, and then you have all these type of documents depending on your clients. Some of your clients just like to read and take in information that way. Others like to talk. So depending on which resonates with you, you do that. Or you do quizzes, which a lot of people like. I like to do quiz. I plan to add one onto my website. And the most important is call to action. When you send them something, you want to say, why don't you schedule time to talk, or schedule an appointment, or let us send you a free product, fill in this form. Always asking them to take action. So as we move from the wow of your business and how to go online, I have to tell you that many of us have been sitting at home for a long time. And many of us are really disciplined about a morning routine that continues to work for us. And some of us are not. So what I want to talk about today is the pause, the reflect, and the pivot as it pertains to your first hour in the morning. That is your most powerful hour of the day. All chaos can happen throughout your day, but when you start your day very grounded, assured, and focused, nothing can shake your day because you are in a position of responding to your day versus reacting. And so we're going to look at the morning routine from a mind, body, and soul perspective. So, Pearl, I think you'd agree that during this time, the mindset has been critical.
Mindset is everything. Sometimes even though, especially when things aren't quite seem to be going your way, and it totally affects the mindset. So your morning ritual, the first thing in the morning, is right on. That is totally the quick and easy and so kind of surefire way to set the tone for your day. Absolutely. And so the mindset, everything starts here, between your ears. And if you're not watchful for what that space is about, you can easily get swayed and somehow get sidetracked and derailed.
And derail, absolutely. And our success of our business is totally dependent on our inner growth. So if you invest in yourself and you grow, your business will grow. And that's an important key to your success, is just to continue to invest in yourself. And with COVID-19, there is so much out there. It's unbelievable. These are just a few options of how you can connect and grow free, right? YouTube conferences, online conferences, attending, connecting with podcasts, listening to YouTube. There's 300,000 books are written every year. 300,000. There's 500,000 patents issued every year. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that you actually invest in learning your industry, because more than likely there is an improvement or an invention that could be very critical to your business. So you have to be proactive in learning not only your industry, but how to become a better leader. And there are so many ways in which to do this. So, it can be just while you're showering, while you're having breakfast, keying in, listening to something online, mm-hmm. or just reading 2 or 3 pages from a book. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard, but just continue to invest. So many times, the organizations had lunch and learns. They had speakers come into to your buildings, and so you had an opportunity to come in and sit and enjoy speakers that were brought in. Now you may have to be more proactive. And it's important that you be more proactive. And as a CEO, you should always be learning. Definitely.
As well as being able to um, develop sort of a construct on how to manage your mind space. As you mentioned, there's just so much information out there. And if you don't have sort of a clear plan and how you execute it, you can get distracted in by all these different videos, for example, on YouTube, right? So if you have sort of a way to organize it and so that folks don't get distracted, once you get onto certain programs, you have, you know, your time and so on. So that's totally the next thing that we also have talked about, but Pat's
Yes.
gonna get into next.
Yeah, and affirmations are really important.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Music,
have my set of
right?
affirmations every morning.
Yep. And get music, right? Don't
And
forget.
music, oh my God, and music is
Yeah.
so
Online.
uplifting.
Yes. Yes.
45 in 45 seconds, you can change your state.
There you go.
45 seconds. Play your favorite song. In 45 seconds, it will change your mood.
Mm-hmm.
Secret.
Right.
Okay, so the infamous masks. So we're talking about health, right? The infamous masks that we're now living with. The fact that we're at home more often. It is really important to keep moving. Get
Yes.
moving. Whether you're walking, you're doing yoga, you're connecting to Pearl's yoga and Tai Chi classes online. It's really, really important. If you have not done that, and you're like me, you've gained a couple of pounds, which I have, then I have actually, really have raised the bar for myself as it regards to health, and it's very, very important. And it's important to get body work done. There's so much healing. We're under more stress, a level of uncertainty, and that starts to accumulate if we don't have a physical way, a mental way, a spiritual way to really work through that. So getting body work done is key. Build your immune system. It's very, very important. There's a lot of products out there, and just go to your local Whole Foods or naturopathic store and get some suggestions on how to build your immune system.
Yeah. And don't forget to get some sun on a regular basis.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Ah, absolutely, so key, right? Vitamin D.
Yep.
Hygiene, washing your hands, and of course the infamous masks. So the important thing is that these are disposable. That means that after a few days or even every day, you throw it away. There are times where I have given my husband his, he takes it off and he lets it go and it falls on the floorboard. And I'm like, we can't do that. We have to, we put, let me have your mask. We put it in a plastic bag and we put it in a place that we can get to, just keeping those clean. If you use cloth, like this is a cloth, wash them every day. Have at least 2 or 3 that you can rotate, but wash them every day. Very, very important. And like Pearl said, go outside, get some sun, get your feet in the grass, just breathe fresh air. It's very important.
And of course, don't forget to wash the hands.
And if you're wearing gloves, take them off and throw them away and get a new pair. Oh my God, all those little things. And so we're just bringing awareness of how important health is, because you want your body to support everything you want to do in life. And sometimes we have to sit back and say, have I really been taking care of myself as best I can? Where do I need to change? Maybe, you're getting tired of a certain routine. Maybe it's time to make a change and try something else, right? Mm-hmm. Bring some variety into that.
Yeah, and be vigilant on your mind while you're doing that. Don't get aggravated or annoyed by these new normals. Yes.
Go with the flow.
That's right.
Yeah, go with the flow. And really be conscious of your family's health, and also the health of your plants and of your animals. They are all sensing the change in energy. They sense the anxiety. They sense the stress. And it's important to notice how your pets may be reacting to you and other members of your family. and be in tune to that. And then the soul. And this is really connection with yourself and with others that support you, and taking moments throughout your day to just sit in silence, journal throughout your day, and really connect with other women. The thing that I see, and Pearl, you and I have seen this, is how lonely people have become. And the importance of really picking up the phone, making a phone call, getting involved in networks online, so that you're feeding that spirit and that sense of connection. Very, very important.
Yeah, and Pat, if you don't mind, just let's just kind of summarize this: mind, body, and soul. Clearly, they are interconnected. Yes.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And
All interconnected.
right.
And because we can't separate ourselves from our business. Our business is so much a part of us, and we are part of the business. And really, in summary, what we're asking you to do is to just take a pause and reflect on how well is your business doing, and being very mindful of taking a pulse of your business daily and making those changes as needed.
Yes.
To really think of your contribution to your clients on an online presence, to create that online presence. We gave you a nice, simple system to get started, and just experiment and try. And then the importance of really pausing and saying, how am I really feeling? Do I need to move more? Do I need to go outside more? Do I need to connect more? And just really pausing and reflecting on those three areas.
Right.
Business, how it's working, your team, your family, your personal health.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
really in that space, when we treat this experience that we all are experiencing right now as a learning experience,
Absolutely.
the total sort of teacher of the life, yes, even though I would say that none of us really would want to do this voluntarily, yet we
Right.
are in it, and let's make this opportunity worthwhile so that we develop new skills, we evolve, and we advance. So our human race in general, right, gets a lot more resilient going
Yes,
forward as a
absolutely.
group.
And we are resilient people. We are resilient. We're human. We're very resilient, and we will, we'll bounce back. And what we offered is just ways to be able to do that in an easy way. So we talked about freebies, and I actually do have a freebie. And my freebie is an e-guide called 5 Steps to Scaling Your Business Consciously. And you can get my freebie by going to my website at majesticcoachinggroup.com. And you can always contact me with as my email shows here, pat@majesticcoachinggroup.com. And we can have a conversation on anything that we've discussed today, and how we might be able to move you forward. That's one thing that Pearl and I, are very committed to, is we just don't come and present everything and give you ideas. We are here to move you forward in the best way possible. So we're always here with a support structure to help you move forward in whatever topics that we talk about. And that's very important. I do want to talk a little bit about my book. As Pearl said, I'm a #1 bestseller on Amazon. This book just came out. It's called Catherine's Quest. Here you go. And it's a tender, funny, and wonderfully inspiring story about a woman who loses everything. She loses her job, her marriage, and her home. And she learns how to bounce back from that. And in that process, she learns how to celebrate what it is to live an empowered life, and how there is healing in new beginnings. And also the fact that being happy and beyond happiness, which is what elation means, is a choice. It's a choice. So if this inspires you, go to Amazon.com and you can get it in Kindle, hardback, and paperback. And so with that, Pearl, I'm going to stop sharing here. And we have some exciting things for next month.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pat. That is chock full of information, so helpful, and also very, very timely. So thank you. Yeah, next month, what do we have for next month?
Next month, Pearl is the star. So Pearl is speaking, and as she mentioned, she's a yoga instructor and has been for many, many years. And so she's bringing her passion for yoga, and she's going to be talking to us about the power and misconception of yoga. How interesting is that? Power and misconception. And we're scheduled to be of value to you October 28th from 6 to 7 Central, 7 to 8 Eastern.
Yes.
And we want you to join us. Bring your friends and join us for an interesting conversation around yoga.
Would love to have you returning to join us.
And our quote for the evening, Pearl?
Yes. A beautiful quote from,
Heraclitus.
there you go.
Change is the only constant.
That's right.
Change is the only constant. And with that, we wish you well. Know that we are here supporting you and that we'd love to see you next month at our next show. And with that, we say ciao.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes.